The air in this room's getting thin. My patience for you is getting thinner. Don't care if you're lonely again. Just let me escape for a minute.
Before we start this video, I want to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of this channel, you. Like really, everything you'll see in this setup came from the money I've made from YouTube, and I honestly couldn't be more grateful for the support you guys have given me so far. And so yeah, thank you guys. I've been dreaming of having a setup like this for years, and now it's here, and it's all because of you. Now, regarding the setup per se, as you'll see in a minute, everything here follows kinda the same motto, which is premium but budget. And what I mean by that is that everything here is what you would normally consider premium stuff. So things like ultrawide monitors, extremely fast computers, a standing desk, iPads, that kind of stuff. But you see, the thing is that those types of items tend to be very expensive. And that's why when you check the price of many of the desk setups floating around here on YouTube, you end up with crazy figures like $8,000, $10,000. But well, the problem is that I don't have that type of money to spend on a desk. So I decided to try and make a setup that would give me 98% of the premium features that those guys have by paying less than 20% of what they did. And I think I pulled it off, because this whole setup, absolutely everything you're seeing at the moment, including desk, PC, monitor, tablet, headphones, everything, costs around $2,000, which is not cheap, but considering that some of the computers that these guys have cost by themselves more than this whole setup, I'd say this is a win. Okay, let's start with what holds this whole productivity suite in place: the desk. For the desk, I went with a black Vivo height adjustable standing desk frame. Now, the great thing about this desk, as the name suggests, is that you can adjust its height all the way from 28 inches in its lowest configuration to 49 inches in its top configuration. And I honestly cannot put into words how much my productivity has changed ever since I got this thing. First, because it doesn't matter what I'm doing, every time I stand up, I honestly feel like I have a new breath of energy. I don't know, just having the ability to work comfortably standing up makes me instantly more creative and sets my mind in a productivity mode. But you see, the problem is that although standing desks are amazing, they're also quite expensive. So my solution was to save some money by buying a manual desk instead of a motorized one, saving by that 110 bucks, and purchasing just the frame instead of the frame plus the tabletop. As a point of reference, the tabletops on Amazon usually cost about $100 to $200 plus shipping. Whereas this one, I bought this one from a local wood store, and it cost me 20 bucks. Like really, I'm not kidding, 20 bucks. So the total saving was around $300. Now, in case you're wondering, the desk is quite firm with no noticeable wobble, and sure, if you shake it, it shakes a little bit. But that's honestly barely noticeable, unless you're actually searching for it, and it hasn't bothered me once, so I'm happy with it. Now, regarding the cranking mechanism, it surprised me how fast and light it actually feels. And sure, having a motorized desk could probably save me the slight physical effort and 5 seconds of my day, but as I said, by going this route, you get 99% of the experience or the premium experience by less than half of the price. So for me, it's worth it. Okay, above the desk we have a lot of stuff going on, but most probably the most important item is what powers this whole productivity suite: my beloved M1 Mac Mini. By this point you've probably heard all about the M1 chip and how it basically revolutionized the Apple world, so I'm not gonna go into detail about that, but what I'm going to say is that for me this chip completely changed my mind about what you actually need to have a powerful computer. You see, I used to believe that if you wanted a really powerful PC to do stuff like 4K video editing, handling massive databases, or very heavy multitasking, you needed to have like 16 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of RAM, with lots of storage and a dedicated GPU. And that meant spending ridiculous amounts of money on a machine. Well, this machine proved me wrong. I just bought the base model M1 Mac Mini with just 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. And there's nothing that I've thrown at this computer that it hasn't been able to handle it like a champ. Things like 4K video editing, multiple tabs of Safari and Chrome open, immense Excel spreadsheets, Word, PowerPoint, Netflix, YouTube, everything open at the same time, and this thing has never beach balled me. Like, not even once. And so if you're anything like me and your computing needs don't go above what I just described, I would definitely suggest that instead of spending the extra $200 on more memory or more storage, you use those $200 to buy a 1TB super fast external SSD to keep your big files over there. And yes, in case you're wondering, you can work straight from the SSD, do video editing straight from it, handle massive files straight from it, and you won't experience a single difference. And now, moving on, we have the monitor to which the Mac Mini is connected, which is a 29-inch ultrawide monitor by LG. The reason for why I love ultrawides is because I truly think that they can help increase your productivity. Having the ability to just put 3 to 4 windows side by side makes you work much more effectively and much more comfortably. It is really a game changer. And again, if you're in the market for an ultrawide, you probably know just how expensive these things can get. And I really thought that nothing under 38 inches would be useful. But man, let me tell you how wrong I was. When this thing arrived, I couldn't believe how big it was, because I've seen videos like this before and the 29-inch monitor always seemed kinda small. But in real life, this thing is actually pretty big. And ever since I started using it, I've never felt like I needed more screen state. My impression at the moment is that if I were to go with a bigger screen, I would probably have a bunch of windows that I really cannot see at the periphery, and my neck would just hurt from looking side to side. But fundamentally, my productivity wouldn't be radically improved. Now, I could be wrong about that, but what I will say is that 29 inches is plenty enough. Believe me. Now, the monitor is attached to a pretty basic $30 desk arm, which gives it a nice floating look. It clears up space underneath it to fit anything I want, and it allows me to fit the screen in whatever way I need. I also use the Visa mount on the arm to attach a cheap old ring light that I had laying around the house. And I know that it's really not the fanciest, but well, really no one sees behind the monitor anyways, and from my point of view, it actually looks pretty neat. Okay, beneath the monitor I have my iPad Air 4, which again is kind of the best iPad that you can get if you want to have a premium or pro-like experience without actually spending a pro-like price. I purchased mine for $600 and couldn't be more happy with it. It really changed the way I study, and it is just like the cherry on the cake of the overall setup. By the way, if you want a video on how I use my iPad as a tool to study medicine, let me know in the comments and I'll make the video. But in any case, the iPad is hooked up with the Apple Smart Keyboard Folio and the Apple Pencil 2, creating a mini productivity suite for whenever I have to study on the go. I should also mention that I got the keyboard case from the Amazon refurbished store at $50, and as far as I know, those are products that have been opened up, but they were returned and they look pretty much like new. And well, the upside is that if you buy them, they cost like a fraction of what the original cost. Mine came super fast, cost a quarter of the original, and it honestly seems like new. It was truly one of the best purchases I could ever made. Now, regarding peripherals, I have a Logitech K380 as my main keyboard, and I love this one because it looks awesome, it has a great typing experience, and it can pair with up to 3 different devices, and it costs like $40. Quick disclaimer, it does work with batteries instead of USB-C, but those batteries last a hell of a long time. I've had mine for a year and a half by now, and I haven't need to change them. Like, not even once. Right next to the keyboard I have the Apple Magic Trackpad, and I know you guys love your mice, but I'm just really not a mouse guy. And the apps that I use all day like OneNote and DaVinci Resolve really take advantage of having the ability to scroll and zoom in 360 degrees by wheel. That's why I went with the trackpad, and well, what can I say, I just love it. For sound, I just use my monitor speakers, which are okay. I mean, I'm really not an audio junkie, but they sound pretty fine to me, and whenever I want a little bit more sound fidelity, I just pop in my AirPods 2, which again, are like the most budget but premium version of the AirPods there are, and totally recommend it if you ask me. Now, regarding cable management, I bought a black cable extension and screwed it into the lateral side of the desk. The idea is that anything that is mounted over the desk is connected to here, and the only cable that really leaves the desk and is noticeable is the one from the extension per se. That's why I bought it in black, to help it camouflage it with the desk legs and the chair. Now, to hide the cables that connect to the extension cable, I use this cheap plastic cable tray, and it's like the cheapest one I could find online, and sure, it's not perfect, but for $5 it sure helps me keep all the mess of cables elevated and out of sight, which is like the point with this whole cable management situation. I also used a few of these, like, I don't know what they are, like black buttons that you attach to the side of your desk and that run cables through them. I use them to keep the cables that I frequently use neat and organized. And well, they're awesome because when you're not using the cables, they hide them, and when you need to use them, you just pull them a little bit and it works amazing. Finally, I just want to make a quick comment. Although not a part of the setup per se, I've truly noticed that to make a desk setup look really nice, you also have to think about the stuff that's gonna surround the desk, because that's really what gives your whole setup the vibe and set the overall tone of it all. And that's why I bought all the stuff that you see surrounding the desk. The world map, the plant, the curtains, the chair. All that stuff really makes a difference, even though it's not part of the desk setup per se, and it's just a thing to keep in mind. But in any case, that pretty much sums up this video. Let me know what you guys think, and if you have any suggestions to things that would be cool to add, let me know in the comments. For now, thanks for tuning in, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.